Tragically,
tragic.
this is based on your life. I mean, this is things...
Yeah, but, I mean... loosely, Graham.
No, but things like, isn't the washing machine, that happened to you?
What?
The washing, you were very hungover.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, tell Jodie Foster that story.
All their stories are really cool, though, Graham. When I was teaching, which is what this show is based on, I went home one weekend, and I was in my 30s. I was probably 33 years of age. I went home to see my mother, and then I went back, and while I was at home, my mother did my washing for me, because I was only 33. And then I went back, and on the Sunday night, I got really drunk, and then I went for a curry, and then the next day I went into school. I went into school, and it was a school in Slough, and it was quite a rough school, but they had a really brilliant hearing-impaired department, so there were hearing-impaired kids who, you know, struggled. They were really looked after in the school. Anyway, I was really hungover. I went there, and about break time, I felt really uncomfortable. I thought, something's not right, you know? So I went to the toilet, and I pulled my trousers down, and some of my mother's knickers had got... I got mixed up in the wash she'd done, and I was wearing my mother's underwear. And I went, oh, God, no. Oh, I remember going, oh, you loser, this is such a low point, you loser. And then the curry and the booze kicked in from the night before. So I did like a fecal Jackson Pollock. And I started going, oh, God, not this as well. Oh, Jesus. So I cleaned myself up and I pulled my mother's pants back up. And I went back into the classroom and I saw one of the hearing-impaired kids just looking at me like this. And that's when I remembered that I had a microphone directly... Here we go. So maybe Man Down isn't that far-fetched.
Talking of that, in theatre, Phoebe, I'd say you learned a valuable lesson. Was it hay fever? Noel Coward's hay fever?
Oh, God, I've had so many regrets about telling you guys about this story. OK. Occasionally, backstage, there are some japes with actors, you know...
Sure.
You know...
Yeah.
that keep the other actors kind of entertained when it's a really long run. And I'm really sorry, Mum, that I'm telling this story.
Sure.
And there was one... I was doing Hay Fever, and it was a 3-month run, and there was one moment... there's one moment on the stage where I was off stage with this other actor, Sam, and one of the other actors, played by... one of the characters played by Freddie Fox, would storm across the stage, open this door, and we'd be standing behind the door, you know, masked from the audience, and he had to go... and then he'd slam the door and run back onto the stage. And so we always used to do something kind of quirky behind the door to make him laugh. And every night, and we started off by doing a little, like, ooh, like, we're kissing, or, like, oh, we put a funny hat on Sam. But it was 3 months long, this run, and we had to up the game every night. Every single night. And so we started getting the stage management involved, and there were massive, like, hot dog costumes, and, like, we brought people from outside to come in. So every time Freddie would open the door, he'd be, like, really excited, and he'd be like, and then we'd be like, and then we had to change really quickly and then run onto stage, and the other cast members could see it. And it was building and building, and we were running out of ideas, and there was, like, a week left, and we were exhausting ourselves. And then suddenly it was getting to the last night, and we were like, we have to have a big finish. Like, what are we going to do for Freddie? And neither of us could think of anything. And suddenly we did the matinee, and we'd done this kind of wild, kind of like spangly, glittery thing. And then on the final performance, we had nothing. And we were like, we have to do something. We have to do something. We could hear Freddie coming across the stage, and we were like, we haven't thought of anything. Sam just said, just, I know, I've got it. What? Just show them your I was like, what? That's awful. He was like, it's brilliant. The stage management around me going, perfect. Your actual I just thought, do that. And I was like, really? And they're like turning me around. I was like, is this going to be good? And they were like, yeah. I had this huge pink skirt on. No, it's a horrendous story. And I had this huge pink skirt on, and everyone was like, it's gonna be great. And I was like, yeah, it's gonna be, oh my God, what's happening? And I was leaning down, and then Freddie was running along, and I was like bent over with the stage management, like, and then he opened the door, and Freddie just went, oh. I was standing there like, oh God, everything's gone quiet. And then I turned around and I saw, like, the glitterati of the London stage, like Olivia Colman, Lindsay Duncan, Kevin McNally, all going, yeah, too far. On stage, it was horrendous.
Well told. Well told. Bravely told. It's gone now. It's gone. It's gone. And you had similar royal visitors at the James Bond premiere, didn't you?
Oh, yes, yeah, it was exciting. But they told me that you have to bow, and I thought when you bow, you, like, fully go down like that. I was, like, at a full right angle. It was the most embarrassing thing ever. It looked dirty. That's the only way I could explain it.
So, but you were... I like this, though. I like when people are over... So you are genuinely angling for an invite?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm obsessed. Have you seen The Crown?
Yeah, I wouldn't mention that while asking for an invite.
No, I'm obsessed with them. I just love what they wear. The Queen is so cute. I really want to meet her.
So you could be the turn at the reception?
Yeah.
Mind you, a lot of sad dumping songs probably aren't going to be... Yeah.
I can up it for them. I'll up it for them.
Nice, happy wedding.
Yeah.
But, yeah. You could do some covers.
Yeah, rock.
Yeah. No. Yeah. If you were on that podcast, would you have tales to tell?
Well, I nearly did a poo on stage once.
What? And you were talking about holding your breath? When we had this to look forward to?
I'm just sitting here realising that you're now going to make me tell that story.
Yeah. 100% is good.
I mean,
we need context.
We need some more detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I'm actually going to tell the story. Come on. It is tellable. It's quite long, so I'll try and go through it quickly, and then you're just going to have to edit really cleverly. So, when I was 18 years old, I was in a production of What the Butler Saw by Joe Norton at the Royal Exchange in Manchester. OK. And I played this character named Geraldine who goes to apply for the job of the doctor's secretary. And he says, well, let me see, Miss Buckley, I'm going to have to give you a full physical examination. Please go behind the curtain and strip. OK, so this is a part of the play. So in a normal situation, there's a regular stage, much like this one, with an audience there. So you'd think, well, go behind the curtain and you take your clothes off and you throw your things in, and no one can see you because you're behind the curtain in a normal stage. This theatre was in the round. So, little me... So I go behind the curtain and I do what I've done for nights on end, and I take everything off and I'm behind this kind of curtain shape like that. So all the people above me are just going, looking straight down at poor little Kate. So I lie there and I have to lie on this bed, and I would lie like this, really kind of uncomfortably and awkwardly, and I'm lying there and suddenly... Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It's happening, it's happening, it's happening. Oh, my God, I'm going to shit myself. I'm lying on a white sheet, naked on the stage, OK? So I'm like, oh my God, happening now, happening, really happening, sweating. Oh, definitely, it's happened. So I think I'm convinced I've totally shat myself on the floor. And so I think, well, what am I going to do? Because in a minute I have to stand up, come out from behind the curtain, and look for all my clothes that he sees in the plant pots, and I'm like, I've done a fucking poo! This is horrific. So I start to kind of runkle this sheet. I'm like, I'm just gonna get this sheet. So I try and scrunkle up this sheet as best I can. I do this some kind of sort of ninja flip move. I twist myself and I bind this sheet all around myself, and I'm still thinking, happening, coming behind the curtain, standing in front of an audience who can see me from every angle, and I'm absolutely just convinced that if I move my body, there's going to be poo on the floor. This is really a true... Isn't this awful? I promise you. This is the most awful thing. So then, my clothes, because the shoes, and honestly, I practically slither off this stage. And I hide in a corner, thinking, I've got to check this sheet.
Did you shit yourself?
Ladies and gentlemen, I had not actually done a poo. But the second I got into my dressing room and I ran into that bathroom, gunfire. Gunfire. Even as I remember it, I'm like, sweating. It's absolutely true.
Okay, should we try one more? One more. Hello.
Hi.
Okay, we've high hopes. What's your name?
Shani.
Where are you from, Shani?
I'm from New Zealand.
Oh, she's from New Zealand. We always do well with New Zealanders, because even if the story's bad, voice hilarious.
Very funny.
So, Shani, are you living here or visiting?
I live here.
You live here? Woo! Smell the visa. Okay. What do you do?
I'm a florist.
A florist. You okay with that? Yep. Off we go with this story, Shani.
Okay, so mine's an embarrassing story about myself. The first time I tried at-home waxing, I brought some strips that you heat up.
Can I just stop you right there? Already, the New Zealand pronunciation of waxing is genius.
Especially that her name, Shani, rhymes with...
Yeah. Oh, no. We want to hear it more. So, you're doing your home waxing.
Yes. I brought some strips that you have to rub together to heat up. I put them both on at the same time. And when I ripped the strips off, the wax stayed. So I found myself in a tricky situation. I hopped into the shower and tried products, shampoo, body lotion, soap, and nothing would take it off. I tried a razor blade. And the wax stayed, so I had to get my mum to ring our nearest beauty salon, and she had to take me up there. The most embarrassing part was that I had to walk with my legs open so that they didn't stick together.
That is quite a good story.
That's very good.
Should we let her walk? Literally. Yeah. Okay, you can walk, Shani. Well done. Very good. But in terms of embarrassing parents, Charlotte's mother,
Wow.
she must be award-winning.
She's pretty special, I'm not going to lie to you. Pretty special.
Is she still as bad?
Oh, worse, man, worse.
Because when you were little, because the thing is, because you were little,
Yeah.
so you'd no control over this embarrassing creature.
Well, no, because, like,
Wait till you hear.
I got invited to some, like, amazing places. Like, so when I'm, like, 14 and I'm at the MTV Awards in New York and Busta Rhymes is there and Destiny's Child, Jay-Z. I'm Jay-Z and sat in front of me and he kind of turned around and he's like, I'm a really big fan of your work. I can't wait to hear your performance afterwards. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's Jay-Z. I'm going to have a meltdown. And my mum's like, who the hell's he? And then I presented an award to Eminem and I literally had to coach her for about 5 minutes how to say his name. And the what? And the what?
And what was the thing about the breastfeeding?
Oh, really? All right, so my mother breastfed me till I was like 18 months and she made a point of like telling everyone this, but lots of people in my career as well when I was a bit older. But she said, the thing is, babe, you were like 18 months, so you could walk and talk by then. So she used to come over to me and say, titty, mammy. I'm trying to be a serious artist, mother.
Sam Neill, of course, you worked with Steven Spielberg. And Jurassic Park, of course, it's back now, Jurassic World and thing. And you've ruled out ever coming back. You could come back. You're still alive.
I didn't rule it out.
Oh.
They just didn't call me. And someone asked me the other day, and I just said, I don't know what's happened to Alan Grant. He could be dead. He could be in therapy, you know.
Yes.
For sort of trauma or something. or he might be an accountant in Des Moines. I don't know what's happened. No one knows what's happened to him.
And I hadn't realised that the very first Jurassic Park, that got the, you know, the prestigious royal premiere, the royal charity premiere, didn't it? With, was it Charles and Diana then?
Diana on her own.
OK.
For reasons I have no idea. But, yes, I found myself sitting beside Diana in... I've told this story before, and my son is so embarrassed by it, but Diana was sitting here. It was in the Odeon, you know.
Yeah.
My son was sitting here. It's a drafty cinema, as you know, and the draft was going this way across. And as soon as the dinosaurs... My son was 10 at the time. As soon as the dinosaurs turned up, he started farting. But it was drifting towards that. And I had my dinner suit, and I thought, I'm sure she'll think it's me. I could feel the sweat stains just sort of growing on my dinner suit like this. And he didn't stop until the end. He denies it to this day. And I'm sorry that she's not around. I can apologise, you know. It wasn't me.
Tell us the story about when you went to Martin Jarvis's house.
It's so embarrassing. That I hope this is not going to offend people. Actually, I hope it is. But I know it sounds as if I just talk about nothing but shit, but I was dying to go to the lavatory. And I was invited to a lovely dinner party in Los Angeles, and it was Martin Jarvis, who's a dear friend, and his wife, the hosts, and Richard Harris's son, Jared, was there, whom I've not met before, and was rather keen.
Nice.
And he's lovely, and I was very excited about that. And so, you know, when I arrived, I said to Roz, Martin's wife, Roz, I'm dying to go to the lavatory. Can I go first, you know, and then I'll join the group, so to speak. So I flew into the loo, and I had this enormous shit, you know. And, you know, then I flushed the loo and washed my hands, and it didn't go down. It didn't go down, it wasn't going down. And then I made this terrible mistake. I flushed the loo again. And it not only didn't go down, it sort of bubbled up to meet me, you know. And it was a horrific... I mean, it didn't... What I was afraid of was that it would surge over the bowl. And, you know...
And surf away. Here's Miriam now.
But the thing is, I'm such a coward. I didn't know what to do, so I backed out of the loo, closed the door, and I went in... And instead of saying, you know, how do you do? It's lovely to meet you. I've always wanted to meet you and all that sort of thing, I said, I've blocked the loo with my shit and I don't know what to do. That was my introduction to Jared.
Talk about Oscars, and you've been nominated many times, but obviously you won for Gladiator. Now, when you were working with Ridley Scott, it sounds like you contributed a lot to, like, particularly Gladiator, the script and stuff, that a lot of it was you. Is that true, or...?
I mean, we started shooting that film with, I believe, about 21 pages that we had agreed on. So after 10 days, we had nothing left to shoot. So, and I would never, ever recommend that you make a movie that way. It's just the way Ridley likes to make a movie. You know, Ridley likes to sort of, like, feel it as he's doing it, and you know, he'll get to a point where the character goes, I need a moment for this character that gives me that. You know, so then he'll go and hunt down what that's going to be.
And didn't you just chuck in your old school motto and things?
Yeah, well, that's where Strength and Honour came from. My school motto was Veritate et Virtute. Truth and virtue, right? So I said to Ridley, I want the character to say something like that, you know? When he greets soldiers from his regiment and stuff, you know, he should say that when he's leaving them. You know, that's his sort of thing, you know? So... and I said, I want them to say, Forza Aeonorum. And Ridley goes... What does that mean? I said, it means strength and honour. He goes, say that.
So was that Sydney Boys High?
Sydney Boys High, yeah.
Sydney Boys High. Now, you weren't quite as good as Fat Cavill at school. You were good. We heard about your fluidity and control and everything, yeah. And then you grew. It's all happy now. But you smoked as a schoolboy.
I did. See, my dad ran pubs, you know, so I was in an environment of smoke-filled rooms from a very young age. So this terrible habit has stuck with me, but I was committed to it even as a young guy in high school, you know, but I couldn't afford, like, packets of cigarettes at the time, you know. So I used to take 2 cigarettes to school, 3 matches, and a piece of flint off the matchbox, right? So I'd put the cigarettes in my sock, and I'd have the flint and the matches in the pocket of my trousers. And at that stage, you know, we had to wear suits at school, and their linings were always made of nylon, right? And I was sitting in music class. I was sitting in music class one day, and we were doing something, I don't know, tate with the rhythms or whatever, and I ended up banging my leg. I went, and I melted the inside of my nylon lining right all around my bits and pieces. That was a very uncomfortable thing for about 3 weeks.
Do you still have pieces down there?
I did. They didn't burn off altogether. just the first foot.
Just let him do the dick jokes,
No, I meant pieces of nylon.
Oh, nylon.
Like when you... Never mind.
Yeah.
No, we can move off of that.
I wasn't wearing nylons. That came later. That came later when I was doing the Rocky Horror Show.
Now, someone else on the couch has had a memorable encounter with nature. Now, Matt Smith, you were, I believe, you were the lady friend. Now, were you in a garden or were you in a field? Where were you?
Oh. Is it the wasp?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I was under a sort of veranda. It was like a Moroccan veranda. This is a while ago, I might add, but I was under a sort of veranda, and we were, you know, we were.
Yes.
She was on top, and you know, you get an idea. Sorry to be crass, but anyway, to cut a very long and terrible story. Thank you, Graham. What happened was, it's sort of mid-thrust, as it were. This is true. It's terribly true. I was stung. I was stung on my goons. So I sort of yelped out, and she obviously thought it was incredible. And I got up and started hopping around, and the bloody wasp had stung me on the knackers.
Oh, thank you for that. That deserves a round of applause. You poor man. And we know that, obviously, Alfab has earned you BAFTAs, International Emmys, but you have had lots of other honours. Now, was it the New York Senate?
Oh, yes.
Feted you.
We got made honorary New Yorkers, me and Joanna, and it was a ceremony that was going to be at the Senate in New York, and it was during Gay Pride Week.
Oh.
And so it was the LGBT and all the other letters awards, and so we went. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a bit of a good old night, you know. And I said to Joanna, I said, when we go to New York and we go into all these parties, there's normally sort of 6-foot men dressed as us, and we walk in looking like small town mice, little tiny people, like this, and they never recognise us. They go, "Is Jennifer here? Is she here?"
Big drag queen going, I'm Louise.
And Jennifer would go, oh, shame. And so I said, Joanna, let's go, you know, dressed up. So I got a white hat and I got the Stars and Stripes tied around it, great white suit on. Joanna was there. And I said to her on the plane, I said, do you think I need to make a speech? And she said, no, I don't think so, darling. I think just, hello, darlings, that'll do. Oh, thank you very much, sweetie darling. That'll be fine. And so we went dressed up, looking like clowns. Clown versions of ourselves, to, honestly, one of the most serious events I've ever been to. It was deeply...
We are here to honour commitment to social change.
Yes. Lots of songs to people who died of AIDS. Oh. It was... And there was tears and slow piano playing. And I said, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you for no speech. Well, I'm going to get up there. Whoopi Goldberg introduced us with such a lovely citation. And then I went up and I went, thank you, sweetie darling. It was honestly, I've never been so embarrassed in my life. I had a Stetson with the Stars and Stripes tab around it. I was...
The inappropriate things you say sometimes.
Yes. In the movie?
Well, no, or in life.
Always.
Are they intentional?
Never. Never. I honestly... Someone asked me on the red carpet, what would your superpower be if you could have one? And I said to never be embarrassed. Because I'm crippled by the thought of being embarrassing. And so many of the things I've done, you know, in TV shows and stuff are about that anxiety of embarrassment. And I'm always... You remember when I was here last time, Graham? Do you remember this?
Why? What happened?
So I was talking about my stand-up show, which was about finding a wife. And the brilliant Jo Brand was on the show, and she was sat where you are. Jo Brand's hilarious. She was great. She's fantastic. I love Jo Brand. She's fantastic. So we're talking about the show, and I said, I'm hoping I'll find a beautiful wife. And Jo said, are only beautiful women allowed to come to the show? And I said, no, everyone's welcome, Jo. Honestly, it never occurred to me. Graham, I swear, it never occurred to me that but it just came and...
Oh, my God.
I don't know if it's an English thing or...
I've got another picture of you in an early role. I don't know whether this is before Corelli or after Corelli. When were you in Beauty and the Beast?
Straight after Corelli.
Oh, right.
Literally straight after, yes.
So this was you as Gaston.
Yeah.
Oh, look at... Oh. Now, this... I don't know if this story is true. It sounds on... Is this story true? It sounds unbelievable.
Oh, OK, I know the story. It's true. It's...
How is that possible?
Well, it's my most embarrassing moment in life, where I was getting these headaches. It was my first job I'd done in a musical, and I was getting headaches, and I went to a naturopath, and he said, oh, you're dehydrated, you're sweating every night, so you need to drink 3 litres of water a day. I was like, 3 litres? So, of course, me being me, I drank 4 litres, right, thinking 3 or 4. So I have a routine when I go on stage, and I was on about 5 minutes after the show goes up. I always pee when they say places. Places, ladies and gentlemen, you hear it, and I go and pee. So I peed. I'm waiting backstage, and I'm like, I've got to go again. I've got to go again. No, I've really got to go again. And that was my cue. So I walked on stage really needing to go again. And that first number was very energetic. And it was during that number where I pick up Belle, I literally have to pick her up, and as I'm picking her up, I'm like, oh. Now, that's when I realised the muscles you need to release to sing are the very ones you need to tense to hold on. So by the end of the number, I was literally bursting, and I managed to hold on. And I remember the girl playing Belle was looking at me because I was singing like this. And so it came to the last note. I was humiliated. I have to demonstrate this. So, front of the stage here, and the very final note's a big F sharp and big... And I say, will you marry? And I say a little line. I'm thinking, if I sing this note, I'm peeing my pants. If I don't sing this note, I'm humiliated in front of 2,000 people. Me!
The show must go on.
Do you know what? I've just remembered the most dreadful time when I was recognised.
Oh, go.
When my show first came out, I went to have a smear test. This is true. And I guess...
looking at me?
Because you did used to job about, didn't you, before Top Boy, and we know you've got that medical degree. Yeah. And while I was getting my smear test, and I don't know how she made the connection, she realised it was me and started laughing, right? I'm just hearing... as I've got my legs in stirrups.
Yes.
And I was like, is everything all right? And she's like... Is my vagina bothered? Is my vagina bothered? I mean...
You don't mind that, do you?
Not really.
It's not right.
It's a first-time welcome to Ashley. Hello.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Congratulations on the success of Top Boy, going to the final season.
Thank you.
I just wonder, when you're out and about now, do people call you Ashley, or is it always Duchesne, your character?
Duchesne, yeah.
Always?
Yeah. I've started, like, introducing myself as Duchesne. just to get it out of the way.
Yeah. Saves time, yeah.
What was the thing? You were in a restaurant with your kids, I think.
Yeah, so I have an ego, if you didn't know. And I was in a restaurant with my 2 girls, and the waiter came over and said, card or cash? And I thought he said, Wagwan Ash. So he had his hand out to get the bill paid, and I kind of gave him a fist bump. And it was all a bit mad.
That can be embarrassing. That actually happened to me. Somebody came to the door with a parcel, you know, and he opened the door, like, there was a package, and he said, can I get a photo? And I went, yeah, sure. And he went... No, he went, of the package. And I went, yeah, of course.
Thank you, sir. It's not just me.
No, it's not just you. That happens a lot.
Alejandro, you are very welcome in our land. How long have you been here, Alejandro?
3 years now.
3 years. Yay! Good on you, Alejandro. Do you have a job at all?
Yes, I do. I work as a barista in a Turkey coffee shop.
Huh?
Yes. He does that.
A beard shop? What is
No,
it?
no. A coffee shop.
As a barista.
A coffee shop.
Yeah.
He does something in a coffee shop.
Barista.
He's a barista.
As a barista.
He's a barista in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that
Easy.
quite.
Yes.
You couldn't hear it because of your beard.
Yes.
That's it. That's
Actually,
much better.
Do you have to wear one of those funny hairnets on your beard?
No, I don't. I don't.
right.
I fight really hard for not to wear that.
Yes, well done, you. Yes. Stupid EU regulations. Off you go. Oh, I think, was it Alejandro?
Yeah.
Alejandro.
Sure.
Okay, off you go.
So I was dating this guy like 3 months ago. So after 2 weeks dating him, I stayed over for the first time at his place, and he bought me dinner. He bought me this lovely Oreos ice cream. I love ice cream. I love Oreos. And it was the first time I had to go to work from his place.
Yes.
I worked really early in the morning, 5 a.m. So I had to get up at 3:30. I have to left his place at 4. And I'm lactose intolerant. I have a huge problem with that. So I sneak out his place. I lock the door, and it's automatically locked after me. And when I was walking down the stairs, I felt like I needed like a little fart, and just a tiny bit, and I couldn't control it, and I literally my pants. I literally my pants. He actually didn't know I was lactose intolerant. I didn't want to be rude. I ate half a jar of the ice cream, of course. So I didn't know what to do.
Wait, there's more to this story.
Yeah, of course, because I wasn't going to call him because it was 4 in the morning. He wasn't going to pick up. So I have to walk 20 minutes after getting my bus to get to work. And when I get the bus...
The story has turned.
I got into one of my co-worker.
Pull that knob, Graham.
No,
I want to know what happens. So you're on the bus, in your pants, you bump into a co-worker.
Yeah. And after a 30-minute journey of on the bus, she said something like, "Oh, doesn't this bus smell like?" I was really embarrassed. Really embarrassed.
Wait, is that the end of the story?
Basically.
Oh, for God's sake! Because being in The Hobbit, obviously a big franchise like that, did it make you a cool dad for your girls?
No, they, I mean, they're much cooler and funnier than me. I mean, the eldest one, from a very early age, she was very funny. She was startlingly quick at being able to speak. You know, she was talking when she was just 2, and she had a sense of humour very early on. And there was one time when I was driving when she was about 2.5, and it was just the two of us in the car, and I was driving, and I broke wind, and but there was this 5-second pause, and from on my daughter's lives, from the back of the car came Another Minging Fart by James Nesbitt. 2.5.
That's good.
Where does that come from?
Because Tracy, you seem to like the idea of being an embarrassing mother.
You do. You just become a permanent figure of fun as you get older with your kids. I did something really embarrassing with my kid, Johnny, a few years ago when I was still having to buy him swimming trunks for his holiday. You know, you take the kid to buy swimming trunks. He's like, come on, let's go. So I took him to this kind of fancy boutique place around the corner. And they didn't have anything really, you know, it was like Speedos. And he's not a Speedo kind of kid, you know, he needs something with a bit of an elasticated waist, you know, quick, dry gusset. I should have just gone to British Home Stores, but I thought I'd take him somewhere nice. And I saw this very gorgeous young black assistant, you know, amongst the rails doing stuff. And I said, excuse me, can you help me? My son's looking for something, elasticated waist, quick, dry gusset. You know, he's a little chunk star. And Johnny's going, Mum. I'm going, Johnny, I'm going to ask the man. I mean, come on, let me just, Mum, it's Kanye West. Oh! Now that's embarrassing, right? I didn't know. He was very nice. He said, but he was holding something. He went, you know, I guess you think I'm cool, you know, I'm working in this store. That's okay. I think I'm cool. Oh, yeah, poor Johnny. And then I didn't give it up. I saw him getting in the lift and I was like, excuse me, I'm terribly sorry about that. Then Johnny's like, enough now, enough.
Stop being funny. Vanessa, your upbringing, on the face of it, sounds so standard. It's a nice house in Wimbledon. It involves hedges. But your father sounds like he was quite a force to be reckoned with, your father.
He is, yeah.
So he's a urologist?
He's a urologist, yes. So there was, like, no topic off limits, basically. And also, like, loved embarrassing us, you know.
Because you would bring... Well, you and your sister would bring boyfriends
around, yeah. And I don't know what... He calls it, like, the third degree, so he, like, deliberately embarrasses them. So my sister's first boyfriend, the first question he asks is, are you circumcised? And I don't know why. There was, like, no context.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. It's quite intense, Ryan, actually, yeah.
Oh.
And I think there was one... Oh, no. Yeah. I don't know, I should tell that.
No, tell that one. Tell that one.
Well, I think...
Release the
One of my first boyfriends was like... He was, like, a big hypochondriac, and I think he got worried that he had something, like maybe thrush or something. Thrush, like something mild, and he panicked. And I was like, get him off. And so just
For your
did a
dad?
quick examination. Yeah, because, you know, it's easier than waiting for the GP, I guess.
I'm sorry.
I love
can I
this
just say,
show so much.
Waiting lists at the NHS aren't that bad. You don't have to drop trow in her house.
I don't know I don't know.
Were
I
you
can't
there?
remember. No, I left, but I was just checking everything was okay, yeah. I mean, like, he's amazing.
I would sooner go to a hospital in a war zone.
Do you think? I know. I know. It's like one of those things you can't quite believe happened, but he's very cool. He's like, he's very cool. He used to, like, if I couldn't get into clubs and stuff, he'd take me in quite by the hand. My mum would be like, is that your sugar daddy? I was like, no, it's my actual dad. And he'd leave. But he'd just put me in if I couldn't get in, you know, in those...
Bizarre. Tell us about being invited to the James Bond premiere.
Yes, that was pretty bad. Well, I don't really... I'm very lucky I've got a PA, right? So, and I'm really bad with technology, so I don't really get emails that come directly to me. So I get little bundles of emails that are important, and I was invited to the premiere of the latest James Bond film, which had been delayed for 2 years because of COVID. So this was the ticket. But I'm very bad on the red carpet. It's not my natural home at all. I don't like the dress and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I'm not very good at any of that. So I thought, well, look, my Sue, my PA, knows that I'm going to say no to this, but I'll respond to her in a way that will make her laugh, and she'll send a polite no on to the people. So, of course, I
Laura's
started
ahead of you.
Yeah, remember, I'm bad with technology, and I just, honestly, lots of swearing, which I won't do now, but I said, this will be full of the usual twats in the industry. It will be another one of those wanky red carpets. I'd rather have my eyes pecked out by diseased pigeons. I'd rather have my tits munched off by rabid wild dogs, frankly. So a polite no thank you, send. I thought, oh, that will make Sue laugh. And I was a bit surprised when a couple of minutes later I got a response directly from the PR department at the James Bond film where I'd sent that directly. They said, thank you for your speedy response. We totally understand.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. And then some of them I feel are out of your control.
Yeah.
Like there's the one where you're getting anaesthetic.
Oh, I know. That's so terribly embarrassing.
It's sweet, though.
It's so embarrassing. I was having a little tiny procedure, nothing for anyone to worry about, a little girly thing. Oh, actually, even I'm interested in that now. I'm interested to know what I was doing. Anyway, I had this little tiny thing, and the surgeon was there. He said, everything will be fine, here's the anaesthetic. I went under. You know, he told me to count back from 10, like you do. And the next thing I knew, I was coming round. I was delighted to be in the recovery room, still be alive. All of that was lovely. And he came up to me and he said, well, that's all gone very nicely and it was all very quick. Do you remember what you said to me? I went, no. I thought I was just counting backwards. He said, no. You said, I'm a national treasure. Be very careful with me. Actually, why? Awful. No.
Number one, it's true.
You don't say this about
That's exactly what you say.
No,
but how wonderful that that's how you feel underneath.
Yeah.
How wonderful that that's your own inner truth.
Do you know the
fantastic.
difference of that is that it's such a non-British thing to do, is to blow your own trumpet
No,
like
I
that.
know.
I was so ashamed.
But you're so ashamed. No, it's fantastic. I think
But
it's
you know, I still did want him to take care of me.
Embarrassing things do happen to you all the time.
Quite a lot, yes. I mean, there is a lot of stuff in the book, and today, actually, something mortifying happened, which I really thought hadn't happened for a long while. Most of the stuff is sort of from my mid-20s in the book, but today I went to the loo in a rush and took my phone into the loo. You know you sometimes do.
Yes, of course.
And I inadvertently took a photo and the flash went off. And so then I had to leave the cubicle with a woman just going, what would be... And I somehow, that went off by mistake and the whole... I mean, so that could be something that would go in the sitcom.
She must have thought celebrities are so self-obsessed.
I'll just tweet this. Yeah,
one for the album.
But no, luckily most of the stories are from my sort of teens and 20s in the book, so yeah.
Now, one of the things you talk about in the book is dating.
Yes.
And you've dated with various degrees of success, I
Yes.
would say. That's
Yeah.
fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Because you tell a very harrowing story of... Was it a boy you had a crush on? Was it a school trip?
Yes, school trip to Turkey, and we were queuing for the loo in a sort of wooden cubicle where there wasn't a flush.
Old house.
Yes. And so the debris piled to the top, you know, and then by the time... By the time we got to it was fairly risen to the top.
Yes,
And the
grazing
boy,
you.
yes, the boy I fancied was next in the queue, and I went in, and I did a number 2. And it was on the top of the pile, and I thought, well, I don't want him to see that. So I thought, what am I going to do about this? Because he'll know that that's my... poo.
Yeah.
So what I...
switch poos.
What I thought was clearly the thing to do was get some loo roll and roll it up and throw it out of the small window at the back. But what I didn't realise was that he had got bored with the weight and walked round the back to wee in the bushes. So I threw my shit at him.